Hi, everyone. I'm here today with Susan Raven, and I'm so excited that she's going to be leading our monthly workshop this February 19th, Saturday coming up. And I'm excited a couple of reasons. One, I just read her book, Nature, Spirits, and Remembrance. I found it very profound. And also, while I was searching through emails, I found that we've been in similar circles for over 10 years, which was quite a fun little discovery that we have a shared history of, yeah, working with RJ and
RJ, yes.
yeah.
Mm,
So yeah, so I know you've been a student of Rudolf Steiner for many years.
yes, yes.
And is that,
I
or how do you, and I guess, a lot of us in this fairy congress community, we've been finding that really our connection to the fairy realm started when we were quite young. Was that true for you, or when did you first feel the call?
yes, definitely. Um, I came to Rudolf Steiner's work quite late. It was 33 because my first love or my task, my loving task this lifetime has mainly been as a songwriter. So that took most of my 20s. But as a child, yes, the birds, the air, the trees, they were speaking a language that everybody could understand. And sometimes I was allowed into that conversation and I could understand their conversation. The trees, the rocks, the animals, they were always friends, companions, communicable companions. Uh, and my childhood was very much a solitary, although I had a brother. It was very much, I loved being by myself with the trees and with the animals and with the rocks. And it was always the landscape that inspired the songwriting. And I think I've sent you a couple of the videos of my song videos on YouTube. And what I loved about the songwriting is I would allow the landscape to speak to me, to sing through me, walking the land and allowing nature to inspire me. And most of the songs are in the contemporary Celtic folk genre. And that genre really is about allowing the landscape to come through and to work with tones and melodies and chords to enhance the emotions and enhance the imaginative pictures that come through. So yes, it's although when I was living in London and I was performing a lot in the clubs in London, I'd sort of lost my connection with, I would say, connecting with the elementals and the nature spirits. I didn't have a name for them then. It was always about connecting with the essence before the naming of things.
Yes.
You know, the name of things is the last station on the track. And but then when I went to live in a city, it was a lot of naming of things, naming of songs. And so that was a great time in performing songs and performing in festivals. But then there's always this crunch point in your life that tips you into your spiritual path. And mine was quite late. It was age 33. And I found Steiner's work. And it was through a service, a Christian service called the Act of Consecration of Man, which is a most beautiful service that was brought through by Rudolf Steiner. And that was my entrance into Rudolf Steiner's work. And some of the first lectures I came to were his lectures on the nature spirits, a set of lectures called Man as Symphony. And these were quite simply the most beautiful and exquisite descriptions of the nature realms. And it was that wonderful sense of course, of course. And what I see and what I feel is real. And here is it. It's now here through this incredible initiate that he was one of the most advanced initiates in the Western spiritual traditions. So the minute I'd worked through these lectures and imbibed these lectures, and there's lots of sections of those lectures in my book, which I'm sure you know, that was so powerful that was then when I had this impulse, this has to go further than me. This has to be something that as many people as possible can grasp, because this is really key to our point in evolution at the moment, human evolution at the moment. We have to, as a species, we have to go back into this remembrance. We can't shy away from the responsibility, excuse me, throat chakra. We can't shy away from the responsibility that it inevitably will bring with this connection. We have to take it on now, joyfully. So, and it was at that point I then had this really big success. I've been trying for a long time with my music to be signed by a record company. And I was at this same point of discovering the nature spirits and anthroposophy. And anthroposophy was then infusing my songwriting with this depth and power, extraordinary imaginative pictures in the heart that were coming out as songs. And it was then that I was signed by a major record company and went ahead and recorded and thought, right, I'm on my trajectory. I've wanted this forever. Here we go. And then, of course, there's nothing like a huge helping of disappointment to get you back down onto a level. And the person who signed me left the record company. The whole thing dissipated. But in fact, it was, it was sort of a wise move of the angelic realm that it did. Because I'm glad I am not entangled in modern music business, really.
Yes.
Major, the major companies. So that then took me, I then moved out of London and came to live in the uplands of Mid Wales. And the nature kingdom here is so strong, so generous with its inspiration, so tangible. And and then I began to get these very, very strong impulses from the nature spirits to write the book, Nature Spirits, The Remembrance. And I had so much help and so much inspiration from them that I'd never thought about writing a book, but it flowed through. And one of my teachers, there's 3 or 4 main teachers that have inspired me, of course, is Rudolf Steiner. And then there's Dorian and Antje Schmidt, who Dorian's a director of the Biodynamic Research Institute. And a very advanced seer. I mean, he's worked with Rudolf Steiner's exercises to open up supersensual perception, and he sees these beings. He can switch it on and off, and he's very advanced. And then there's Dennis Klocek, who is head of consciousness studies at Rudolf Steiner College in Sacramento. And then somebody I'm sure everyone will be familiar with, Marco Bagajnik.
Mm-hmm.
These are masters, true masters in this particular spiritual stream, working with the nature spirits. But I worked a lot with Dorian, and he said one of the most important things with Steiner's work, it's so powerful and so perceptive, but it's not that accessible for a lot of people. And he said what people need is what he calls a stirrup up to the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what this book was. I said, I need to write a stirrup up to the saddle. And this is how this book came about. And during the writing of this book, the super sensible perception became stronger, actually seeing the beings as opposed to just feeling them and sensing them. And the unbelievable privilege when one actually sees them. One goes into this realm and you actually see these precious, exquisite beings that are so full of love. And nature gives and suffers so much for the sake of our path to freedom and ascension. And I think through this particular spiritual stream that I've been working through, the anthroposophical stream, what it does is it strengthens your power of feeling, so you can bear the sorrow and accommodate the vast joy as well. It's about finding the equanimity, the strength and power of composure to be able to bear what can be perceived and felt in a landfill and what can be perceived and felt at a sunset on a rocky mountain. And that's really the power of this particular path, is working with the heart chakra and being able to work with pure feeling to find your way into this realm. So I think what I'm going to try and do, or what I'd like to present, if it's okay with you, is a set of protocols and methodologies that I've been using, as I've been taught, that we can then pass on to friends, families. And it starts off with a question, I think, that so many of us need to ask is, may an opportunity arise for me to guide someone to the world of nature, spirits, and elementals? And from sending out that question into the land and into the world, see who comes to us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful.
And because I think now with this extraordinarily powerful and tumultuous time we're in, the opportunity and the potential is extraordinary at the moment. And after all the compression and constriction of the lockdowns, the need for humans to get out in nature, that's been one of the most amazing positive things, is that, the exodus from cities and the love and the appreciation of nature has risen a lot. But let's take it further. We need to be back in the community and fellowship with these beings to take us through the next stage.
Yes. And I have to say, here in the States, I feel like a lot of the people who are coming back to nature, yeah, they so need it, because we've seen here that a lot of the people have lost so much in terms of knowing how something just so simple. You see people like driving off the road and just litter everywhere, and it's like, hello, these are beautiful places, we need to keep them that way. And so there's a level of respect that's really missing. So I love that message. How can we bring this?
Yeah, the question, may an opportunity arise for me to guide someone to the world of nature, spirits, and elementals? Because we send that question out. These questions are so powerful, aren't they?
Yes, yes.
And there's those sort of old occult laws that you don't receive answers unless you send out the questions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's a lovely invitation. rather than sending out a directive, like,
Mm.
sending out a question, it invites a response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I will put a link to sign up below the video in YouTube. And so the workshop is Saturday, February 19th. That's 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's noon Eastern time. And what was that, 5 o'clock your time?
I think it's 5 o'clock. Yes, I'll double check.
Right. Great.
Great.
Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we'll see you then.
See you then. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.